Welcome to the Smart Weight Loss Coaching Podcast. I'm Dr. Lisa Olson, a board-certified weight loss medicine specialist and certified life coach. In this podcast, I'll share fresh insights and effective techniques for incorporating mindset, habit change, and proven science into your life. Are you ready to achieve sustainable weight loss, wellness, and longevity? Then let's jump in and lose weight the smart way. Welcome back. Hi, I wanted to tell you about a meeting I had with my client Kim in early December. She was telling me how it's been hard lately to find time to exercise with the days getting shorter and colder. Her job's really busy, and she has 2 high school age kids. She's just got a lot on her plate. So I was asking her questions to try to draw out, what does she like? What's she interested in? Has she tried anything before? And in particular, I was curious if she had done any indoor type of exercising, either at a health club or at home, that she liked. And she had a Peloton, but didn't really like it and had stopped using it essentially. So I asked her if she had ever tried rowing, inspired by my neighbor who is obsessed with her rowing machine and talks about it constantly. It's hilarious. You would think she sells rowing machines for a living. So Kim got really excited, remembering that she had tried rowing using a machine once before, and she decided she wanted to buy one. So one thing I really like to do with people is ask a lot of questions to get them to be specific. Okay, where might she buy one? Did she want to buy a used one or a new one? And I suggested to her it's pretty easy to pick up used exercise equipment. And so she decided she would go to a place near her home where they have used equipment. And then she would actually sell her old Peloton there since she really didn't enjoy using that anymore. And then I asked her, where are you going to put the rowing machine? And she said, we're going to buy our Christmas tree this weekend. But that's right where the rowing machine should go. So I guess the tree's just going to have to go around the rowing machine. We'll make it work. But I love the way she said it because she really implied that the rowing machine was going to get the prime real estate. And everything else, including the Christmas tree, would have to work around it. I really love that. This time of year, many of you are thinking about exercising more, whether it's for health, to improve your focus, your sleep, your mood, your weight. It's so good for us. It helps our blood sugar and lowers the risk of going from pre-diabetes to diabetes. I'm just going to say that again because so many millions of people have pre-diabetes. If you want to reduce the odds of going from pre-diabetes to diabetes, creating an exercise habit might just be your next best action. So what would it take to create an exercise habit? Let's talk about a concept called AUTOMATICITY. That's the ability to perform an action without conscious thought or monitoring. And it's a key characteristic of habit formation. Automaticity comes from repetition, practice, and learning. So we do a lot of things automatically. That's the beauty of our brains. We don't want to have to think about every single little thing we do. So our brains go on autopilot. You've heard that expression before, right? That's what automaticity is. You just go on autopilot. You don't have to think about what you're doing. So you do this all the time. I'm sure you can think of lots of examples. Things like driving, making coffee in the morning, emptying the dishwasher and putting the dishes in the right place. I don't find myself wondering, where should I put this plate? I wonder which cabinet would be the best place for it. No, it's automatic. I just do it. I don't even think about it. Scientists used to think automaticity was a higher brain function, something requiring the cortical part of the brain, which then communicated with the deeper, more primitive brain structures. Now, newer data tells us that subcortical structures deeper in our brain, such as an area called the basal ganglia, those areas are involved in behavioral learning, habit formation, and automaticity. Public health experts are always trying to learn how to nudge us into healthier habits. Nudges work, and they work best when they lead to this automaticity. So instead of focusing on willpower and self-discipline, which are limited resources, we want to find ways to make a new habit something that you want to do and not what you ought to do or what you should do. That's key to behavioral changes that lead to habit formation and automaticity. If you want to do something, you won't need a big nudge to do it. For example, if you hate exercising outside in the cold weather, it would take a big nudge to do it. But if you love using your new rowing machine while watching TV next to your Christmas tree in your living room, like I imagine Kim is probably doing right now, there's not much nudge required, right? Let's talk about a study published in the Journal of Physical Activity and Health. In this study, they surveyed over 700 participants from the National Weight Control Registry, which I've talked about here before. It's a registry of over 10,000 people who have maintained a weight loss of at least 30 pounds for at least a year. Members of the National Weight Control Registry, on average, get 42 minutes per day of moderate to vigorous physical activity, like brisk walking, and vigorous physical activity would be something like running. 42 minutes a day of moderate to vigorous activity is a lot. It's a lot to get that high-level exercise so regularly at such a great volume. In this particular study, the participants were middle-aged and had lost an average of 84 pounds, which they kept off for an average of over 4 years. You might think this is common if you're on social media, but this study was conducted just before those highly effective weight loss medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, and Zepbound became available. So this kind of weight loss was truly unusual. The study was designed to determine whether those who exercised at the same time every day were more likely to still be exercising at this level a year later compared to those who exercised at various times of the day. They also investigated the relationship between temporal or time consistency and exercise automaticity. Basically, are you more likely to stick with your exercise plan when we check in with you next year if you're working out at the same time every day compared to other people who also exercise 42 minutes per day but do it at variable times? And does exercising at the same time increase exercise automaticity, meaning the habit requires minimal attention or effort? Do you just do it without giving it much thought, like the way I just wake up, go to the bathroom, feed the cats, make the coffee, and empty the dishwasher? What if I added exercise to that automatic routine? I just wake up, go to the bathroom, feed the cats, make the coffee, empty the dishwasher, put my sneakers on, and go outside to walk or jog or hop on the treadmill or take a class or use a rowing machine. How would that feel to you if you had exercise automaticity? Pretty amazing, I think, right? Study participants completed questionnaires 1 year apart. Here's what they found. Those who exercise regularly at the same time every day got more total exercise and were more likely to continue their high level of exercise 1 year later. It actually didn't matter when they exercised, just that they did it at the same time every day. Among those who exercised at the same time daily and reported high levels of automaticity, we saw a higher likelihood of stable exercise a year later. Truthfully, people drifted down across all the groups. They weren't exercising as much a year later as they were at the beginning of the study. But those who had more automaticity and exercised at the same day did a little better. Those who exercised consistently in the early morning were more likely to stick with early morning exercise and developed greater automaticity. So while early morning and evening exercisers got similar levels of moderate to vigorous exercise, the early morning folks had a more stable exercise routine and a stronger exercise habit. They didn't have to work as hard to convince themselves to do it. Just like making my morning coffee. I get up, I make it because that's what I do. There's no drama. I don't have to coach myself like, come on, Lisa, you can do it. You'll really be glad you made the coffee. No, just get up and do it. More automaticity means less reliance on New Year's resolutions, exercise goals, and effortful decision making around exercise. This is so key, right? If we can make it automatic, we can just let go of all of that extra effort. Keep in mind that high levels of exercise have previously been shown to be critical for maintenance of weight loss over time. When exercise levels start to decline or exercise becomes inconsistent, maintenance of weight loss is jeopardized. So, if you want to create an exercise habit that's consistent over time for maintenance of weight loss, for better health, better mental health, and higher levels of productivity, it'll be easier to create that automatic habit if you decide to focus on an early morning time slot. What if you're not sure this is possible for you? Good. I'm glad you're here. That's why I'm here to talk to you, because I know creating an exercise habit is possible for you. I've got you. I believe in you. Let's go. Keep in mind that not exercising or being inconsistent with exercise is actually a learned behavior, not a personality flaw. Fear of failure is a big reason people don't even try to create a new habit. I'd like you to think about that. What's the worst that could happen if you try to exercise? Really, it's not a rhetorical question. Like, what is the worst if you decide, I'm going to try to get up early tomorrow morning and exercise? I mean, the worst that could happen is you just don't do it, right? That's not such a big deal. Nobody died. If you say, I'm going to get up early and exercise, and you set your alarm, and then you turn it off and you don't do it, okay, no sweat, reset. You can just try again tomorrow. I mean, honestly, the worst that could happen is that you're mean to yourself and you trash talk yourself. And let's not do that because we know being mean to yourself is not a useful weight loss tool. Another worst case scenario is that you give up. But that's what we're talking about. Just want to let go of that trash talking, the negativity, the talk about it being futile. Just for a moment, think about this. If you're making mistakes when you're trying to learn a new skill or create a habit, is that actually a problem or is it a normal part of the process? What if we swap something out instead of exercise and just ask, what if you're learning to play guitar, to speak Japanese, learning to parallel park, or to dance tango? Do you expect yourself to be amazing when you first start doing it? No. Maybe I have a tango class on Monday night and I get distracted helping my kids with their homework, making their dinner. I totally forget to show up. Okay. The worst case scenario there is I didn't practice tango. Nobody died, right? For some reason, we're so judgy with ourselves around health habits like exercise. So I just want you to shake that loose. Just stop it. We're really way too hard on ourselves, and we talk to ourselves in a way that we would never speak to someone else who was trying to learn something new and trying to practice, create a habit, create automaticity. We would just be encouraging them, right? Like, come on, that's awesome. You did it. Or you forgot. Who cares? Try again tomorrow. So offer yourself a little bit of that. What if you're trying to create an exercise habit and you don't follow through? It's not a problem. It's normal, totally normal, especially in the beginning before the habit is fully formed. The problem is what you make it mean when you're expecting perfection before you've created a new habit. You might be thinking things like, I blew it. I'm lazy. I've never been able to stick to an exercise routine. These thoughts make you feel defeated. You defeat yourself when you think that way. And you're much more likely to quit when you've barely even gotten started. But think about those folks from the National Weight Control Registry. They're middle-aged people who lost on average 84 pounds. I don't think most people with 84 pounds to lose start off identifying themselves as hardcore exercisers, right? So, how did they get there? How did they start exercising 42 minutes a day vigorously? It's a mindset shift. And I'm sure they're doing some positive self coaching and watching that inner voice that's choosing thoughts that can either lead to a feeling of defeat or failure, or an inner voice that might say, maybe it's possible for me. I'm willing to try. I'm willing to begin to practice. Now, if you want to increase your odds of creating automaticity around an exercise habit, you might consider scheduling it for the morning based on that study, which, by the way, means going to sleep earlier. That's a whole nother topic. So make a plan in advance and give yourself some cues. Lay out your clothes and your sneakers, or maybe plan to meet someone to exercise together. If your brain starts trying to talk you out of getting up, be prepared with an answer. This is the kind of thing we work on in my Smart Weight Loss coaching program. What are you going to do when you wake up early and tell yourself, I don't feel like it? I don't feel like exercising. You can plan some even if thinking. So you could plan something like, I'm going to exercise even if I don't feel like it. And you plan to tell yourself that. So if my alarm goes off and I say to myself, I'm just not up for it today, I'll answer the way I planned. That's okay, Lisa. I don't have to be in the mood. I already committed to getting up, even if I don't feel like it. So let's go. We're practicing. I want you to anticipate bumps in the road and decide in advance how you'll talk to yourself. What if you don't get up early tomorrow as planned? Watch for thoughts like, I'll never stick to it, or I always end up quitting. And then ask yourself, what's that thought doing for you? Probably creating a feeling of failure or low motivation, so you're less likely to try again tomorrow. You'll see the fallout of that thought, I never stick to it, when you don't set your alarm to get up early again the next day. It's okay, just watch for those sneaky self-defeating thoughts and offer yourself a kinder, more gentle thought that you've planned in advance. If you want to feel more capable or motivated, you might choose a thought like, I know it's possible for people like me to create automaticity around exercise, and I'm going to keep practicing until I get there too. If the people in the National Weight Control Registry can lose 84 pounds and get to a place where they're automatically exercising moderately or vigorously for 42 minutes a day, I believe it's possible for me too. Malcolm Gladwell says that it takes roughly 10,000 hours of practice to achieve mastery in any field. But I'll tell you that it takes far less than that to start creating a habit. If you want to be a daily exerciser, start with that first step and do it at your own pace. And when you hit a roadblock, just remember that you get good at what you practice. Okay, it's time for our MBA, our next best action. I hope you're writing these down because it's really fun to do that and then to look back. So if you didn't do that last year or the year before, grab a notebook and start writing down your MBA every week at the end of the podcast. Maybe you'd like to work on creating an early morning exercise habit and to practice that habit in order to drive yourself toward automaticity. But if that's not possible, any consistent time of day correlates with more exercise. Just shake off your rigidity. I don't want you thinking, if I can't do it in the morning, I'm not going to get automatic, so why bother? No, we know that you can create a habit and get more exercise if you pick a consistent time of the day, anytime. If you're only able to exercise in the evening, then exercise in the evening. You're welcome. Another MBA you might choose is to let exercise be fun. Choose something you like, even if it's not as hard as something you don't like, but you think you should do. For example, For me, that would be running. Do you hate running? Don't run. Do you hate volleyball? Skip that too. Do you like swimming? Great. Go get yourself a bathing suit and make an NBA to have your gym bag with your suit right next to your bed tomorrow morning. You've got this. Thanks so much for listening. If you'd like more support during your smart weight loss journey, check out our group coaching program at smartweightlosscoaching.com. Until next time, stay well and stay smart.